This one's a little bit different.
Can I leave my eyes open? Or
No, because you'll see it.
I know, but now I'm scared. Well, that wasn't so bad.
No, this one, it's all better from now on.
Okay, I haven't had a McDonald's hamburger in about 20 years.
Eiffel Tower with Oliver G.
When you think about France, one of the main things that will come to your mind is food. And who better to help us understand food than David Lebovitz? He's a food blogger, he's a chef, he's a pastry chef extraordinaire, and he's been in Paris for, how long has it been, David?
Since 2004.
So he's been here for a long enough time to know everything there is about French food. And today, we're going to put him a bit to the test with the A to Z of French food.
Okay, I should have studied. I didn't know there was going to be a test, but I'm ready. It's good as a pop quiz. You have to be ready for anything when you live in Paris.
So what we got today with David Lebovitz, an American in Paris, you probably know him already, the man who needs no introduction. We have got a smorgasbord of food, facts, cooking tips even coming up. He doesn't know it yet, and Paris recommendations. And we're going to do it through the alphabet, all the way from A to Z, or Z, as Americans might say.
Z.
Okay, A to Z. And we're just going to put you on the spot. It's like a mad minute, but it's going to run for 20 minutes.
I should probably tell people the first thing you tried to do is ply me with red wine.
And he refused even though I spent over €6 on a bottle of wine, which I understand is the cutoff.
Actually, a friend of mine who's a caviste told me that the average price that's spent on a bottle of wine in France is €3.20.
So I've doubled it up there, and he still refused.
This is a first class thing.
He refused a Bordeaux Superior. It says on the bottle, but
got some machine water instead.
I drink whiskey.
If only we knew.
Where's the whiskey?
Okay, let's get started with this alphabet. We've got to run through it quick, so we're going to interrupt you if you take too long, and you're welcome to interrupt me if I do as well.
Okay.
But we start with A is for addition. When you're in a restaurant, tell me the best way to order that bill.
There's two ways. One is to wave your hand sort of furiously because they don't have a lot of waiters. It's not like America where there's like 20 waiters in a restaurant. They usually have one or two and they're busy. But
hang on, so it's okay to wave your arm furiously. They won't be upset. Okay.
My partner stands up and he's a Parisian. He waves both hands.
Okay, David's got both hands out like an air traffic controller here.
And my partner's half the size I am.
Okay.
But the best way is actually often just to go up to the bar because that way the waiters don't have to come with the machine and bring the money back, and you can get out of there a little faster.
Okay, you heard of that. Let's get on. B is for baguette/bakery.
Right.
What is the best bakery in Paris to get a baguette?
I don't always talk about best because it's hard to say what the best is. My current favorite is Lendemain, which is it's a small chain, which is a bad word in France, but it's actually there's like 4 or 5 bakeries in Paris, and their baguettes are really, really, really good. They cook them.
They're not fresh though.
Bien cuit.
Lendemain means the day after, doesn't it?
Oh, it's a name. It's Maison Lendemain.
Okay.
Lendemain.
And what about for a croissant?
I like Blé Sucré.
Okay.
I think theirs are really good, and they seem to put a little extra salt in them, so they have a slightly, which sort of makes you salivate a little.
What could you recommend another one?
Another
for croissants, yeah. Something crisper, perhaps.
Well, if you like crispy, the Du Pain et des Idées, they're really good. They're super crispy. They're like crunchy.
That sounds delicious. I wonder if that will come back in this episode. C is for cafe. Tell me your favorite cafe at the moment.
I have a couple, but I really like...
We need to narrow it down to one, David. I'm sorry.
Okay, Café Oberkampf.
Okay.
I think he's got really good coffee.
And that's in the 11th arrondissement, I think.
It is.
Okay. Not open on Tuesdays, as I found out this week.
Or Wednesday, but he might be expanding, so you didn't hear it from me.
No, you didn't hear it from David Lebovitz.
Let me know when you start the microphone.
All right, D, you're a dessert and dessert expert. You've written several books. Anyone who's just joining us, we're with David Lebovitz, who's written over half a dozen books, many on dessert, several on dessert. So I want to know what your favorite French dessert is to make.
To make or to eat?
To make and eat.
Well, to eat, I love Floating Island, and people either love it or hate it.
And what is that for the people that don't?
It's very cold crème anglaise with meringue and caramel, and not everybody likes it. And it's kind of like squid or licorice. It's either you like it or you don't. I
thought you meant there was fish in it for a second. I thought, which floating islands are you eating?
Actually, speaking of crème anglaise, it's different to the lumpy custard that we get in the UK.
This is like I've never had custard in the UK. I'm sorry.
That's why.
Sorry, you don't make it sound very good.
It's really good. You should have some.
Well, you're like it's lumpy. In America we have what we call pudding, which is sort of like a cooked custard
I shall bring back some bird's custard for you.
Okay, well, I've seen it in the store, but I'm not too into mixes, but I could be convinced.
That was James Vazina, the producer, who is at the buttons, in case you're wondering what the voice is. And we're only 4 letters in, and we're pushed for time already. So E is for escargot, or snails. You've raised your eyebrows already.
Oh, well.
Are they worth it, or is it just a bit of a gimmick?
Well, I used to have a garden in San Francisco. I hated snails because they ate everything. So one of the great joys of life was feeding them to the ducks. So I'm not a fan of snails because they would eat everything.
Right.
So maybe I should get my revenge and start eating them.
Yeah, turn the tables on them.
But it's kind of one of those things you don't really get anymore. And I mean, you have to go to like a bistro, and I go to
the French
bistros.
like them, or is that just?
Yeah.
Butter
and garlic. Everyone's like, it's about the sauce. I'm like, well, can't you just have the sauce with bread?
Are you vegetarian?
No, but you wouldn't eat them because they're living.
Right,
they're
of
a living
course.
thing.
James is a vegan. It's come up in shows before.
Well, there's probably vegan ones because you could make them out of soy because it's about the, it's basically about the texture. It's like a hot dog. It's about the texture, not the meat, the quality.
Okay, another controversial one for F is foie gras. What's your take on it? Delicious or stop?
I love foie gras, but I'm pretty careful. I try to buy it from a producer in France, people that sell it at the market where you can we call it traceability, because a lot of the foie gras is raised in other countries. Even in France, it's raised industrially and it's not super humane. That said, I think there are worse things that are done to animals in the food supply than foie gras, which I think should merit the same or more attention.
G is for gâteau.
Gâteau.
That's the French word for cake.
It is so.
Thanks, James. And
your French is very good for someone who's been here 2 years.
You talking to me?
Yeah, it's that Australian educational system.
Right. Where they don't teach you anything about language, of your own language, but maybe you learn another one. But thank you. And what's the easiest cake to make?
Well, this one, it has a coconut custard filling.
But no one's going to make a coconut custard cake, are they?
You can just open the mixes.
They have
these mixes in England. Yeah. No, it's actually fairly easy to make. It's not, it's not difficult.
What I wanted to know about you, David, and this is a question from a listener, is when you get home and you want to relax, take it easy, what do you cook? Or are you always on point doing...
Oh, no.
Spaghetti and canned tomato?
I don't know canned tomatoes, but...
You said that with an English accent, though.
Well, that's because I had to... Right. I mean, what's funny, because the longer you live abroad, the more things are normal. Like when you're in America, it sounds jarring when someone has an accent or says something like that. And here, you just, you get used to it, so you become a more worldly citizen. So.
I often say basketball when I'm talking to Americans.
Yeah.
Because in Australia, we say basketball. And for no reason other than I feel like I'm blending in with them. We've got a bit of a pause in the...
That doesn't tell us, though, what you cook at home.
Oh,
wow, yeah, thanks, James.
I
want to know.
I cook a lot of different kind of stuff, whatever. I mean, like the other night I made bo bun, which is Vietnamese noodle bowls. Because I was like, we've been eating a lot of meat. And I was like, I want something fresh. And I want noodles. And I want chilies and hot sauce and so forth. Sometimes we'll get a roast chicken from the guy at the butcher who is my new best friend.
Why is he your new best friend?
Because I walk by him all the time and he's super nice.
Right.
And it's funny, in France, I was thinking about this the other day, you kind of judge businesses, how nice they are to you. If, you go to some place, you go, oh, this très gentil. That's like a real good, in America, everyone has to be nice to you because it's this customer service forward. Or Australia, like everyone's super nice.
Right.
Whereas in France, people don't have to be nice to, so when they are, it's like super, it's great because they want to be.
I decided to be a customer for life somewhere today because he remembered my name from the first time, and he said to me, how do you want to pay or whatever? And then, I said, how are you? And he said, oui, ça va, beau gosse. Beau gosse, which is, James, what is that like?
Handsome fella.
Put in a really slang. It's kind of like saying cool dude, no?
Yeah. It's more slang. Yeah.
So I was like, he's using slang. He's being nice to me. He's got my name. I'm going back.
Well, when I moved here, they used to call me chef. Like I'd be at the market. I was like, I need 6 oranges. They're like, oui, chef. They're like, oui. I was like, how do they know I'm a chef? And then I realized that means boss in France, and it's kind of. I'm like, oh, okay. So I was deflated.
I could tell by the way that you were picking the fruit and vegetables, Pat. We're going to get to markets in a second. Actually, there's a little clue for what's coming up with the letter M. But for I, we've got something a bit different. We have got international food taste testing blindfolded.
Do we have foods coming?
I sure do. I've got some food
Did
here.
you not pick up on the
Really?
hints? Didn't you pick up on the
We're
hints?
waiting for Deliveroo to
I've got some. What I've got. What I want.
Is there Vegemite?
I'm not giving
Okay.
anything away.
Oh, straight on because he's Australian.
Just because I'm
straight
Australian,
away.
you think there's going
That's
to be
okay.
Vegemite.
I've heard Europeans talk about peanut butter, and they're like, "Ugh, it's disgusting." Like,
Okay.
but you eat peanuts.
What I'm going to do is, would you prefer to be blindfolded or just close your eyes in a faith?
Ever since I left San Francisco, I'm not really into being blindfolded.
Okay. Okay, if you're just joining us now, this is the Earful Tower. We've got David Lebovitz in the hot seat, and he's already agreed to do a blind taste test. And so we mentioned a little bit earlier in the episode croissants from Pan des Idées, which I happen to have. And
Okay.
what I imagine is an important thing when you're cooking is being creative.
Mm-hmm.
Would you agree?
Being creative, but also relaxing and
What I'm reading-
tasting stuff.
What I understand from you is breaking the rules, trying different things, challenging the typical croissant, for example. That's what you mean, isn't it?
Well, not necessarily,
But a little bit.
Sometimes classical is good. Everyone always wants to change things, and
Yeah, that's
you're gonna-
I'm reading between the lines, David. You want a new kind of croissant.
Tell us what you've got in store for us, Ali.
So
No, some things work, some things don't. and
okay, well, that might come back to haunt us.
I was in Lebanon. And I had croissants with za'atar, the sesame herb mix, and they were incredible.
That's nothing compared to what you're about to taste.
Okay, what's in the bag?
It is a plate with a croissant on with a secret ingredient, and you have to guess what the ingredient is and what country it comes from.
Is it savory or sweet?
I'm not telling you anything.
Is it? What if I have like a severe food allergy?
Do you have any severe food allergies?
I was gonna say, get your cameras ready.
Okay, you have to close your eyes now, David. And now I'll take that croissant with.
If there's something
With your
really
hands?
bad in there,
There's nothing too bad in there.
There you go.
okay.
Okay, and you don't have to turn it around to take a little bite out of it. No, not the edge. Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah,
like
like
a
that.
sandwich, the other way around. Yep. Well, he's chewing. Can you tell? He seems to like it.
I've been tasting things all my life, so I skillfully am chewing around whatever's in the middle.
But do you know what it is?
Do you want a second bite?
No, but it's something salty and a little slippery.
Okay. Well, we need to guess, or at least
Can
the
I
country.
open my eyes?
Yeah, but no, you got to guess first, and then you can open your eyes.
Is it that custard mix that you get in England?
Wow, way off. Okay, open your eyes and have a
Okay.
look.
What is it?
That is a.
Oh, it's a hamburger.
It's a cheese. That's a cheeseburger from McDonald's.
You know what, though? Someone's going to do this here if if word gets out. So,
What did you think of it? Could it work?
I think it could work. I think if you did like a ground beef filling for croissants and you had some sort of mustard sauce, maybe, or some spices, Middle Eastern spices, you could do like a really great savory croissant.
Wow. Okay.
Or harissa.
Onto
in
the
the dough.
onto the next one. This one's a little bit different.
Can I leave my eyes open? Or
No, because you'll see it.
I know, but now I'm scared. Well, that wasn't so bad. I haven't
No,
had
this
a
one, it's all better from now on.
Okay, I haven't had a McDonald's hamburger in about 20 years.
Okay, his eyes are closed.
Okay.
Eyes are closed again. You can reach out.
Okay.
It's right next to you.
There you go.
Yep,
Yeah,
it's
just there.
You can bite the edge off this one.
Okay.
Other side, other side, other side.
This is like a
No, the
cruel-
corner. Turn it around. Flip it upside down.
that or
No,
this?
yeah, yep, the second one. Yep.
Okay. Is it a fishtail?
No, no, no. Okay. He's got his eyes closed. He's enjoying it.
I know what that is.
Do you like it?
It's something French, and it has that taste. I can't think of what it is. But
Okay.
can I open my eyes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Open your eyes and have a look at it.
It's like boursin or something. What is it?
Guacamole.
Really?
Not very French.
It was cumin.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because like the younger people are putting cumin in everything. And I said to a friend the other day, I don't want to go to another restaurant and have a quinoa salad with cumin. And we went to a restaurant, and the first course was quinoa salad with
Oh
cumin.
my god. Okay, well
So we got a
so
last
far you're
one
on
coming
0
up.
out of 2.
Is my reward the plain croissant at the end? The
You
one
could
with
turn it
chocolate?
around and have a bite because it's fine. But here's the last one.
Okay.
We've run out of plates though.
Can I look up? I'm getting dizzy. I'm afraid I'm
Okay,
gonna
you can
fall
look
down.
up.
I promise not
And-
to look.
Okay. You can reach it there.
Same as this one. Have the
Okay.
corner again.
That's right.
This,
corner?
yeah, where your left hand is. Where your left hand is. Yep,
Oh,
yep,
yeah,
yep. That's
okay.
the bit. He looks really happy with that one.
Roshan, now that I trust you, A little bit.
Why do you trust me?
Because you didn't give me like fish, like raw fish or something.
Okay, what do you think about that one?
It's like blue cheese or something.
Interesting, but no. I'll give you a clue.
It's Vegemite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think? The
I think I
Australian
need some of that wine. See, now that was a bad trick because you gave me I just thought, well, I'll take a bigger bite because before I was not used to it.
So what do you think of the Aussie croissant? The Ozont? Not much.
I think I need to leave now.
It's funny though how taste seems to have a lot to do with your eyes because
Yeah.
those. I mean, I don't want to say they were quite off, but you weren't very close to guessing what they were.
Well, I did. You taste like that's fermented, like blue cheese fermented.
True.
Has the same.
Right.
I actually did a meal once, which nobody who knows me could believe, but it was a silent meal, and we ate. I was at a spa in Mexico, not really a spa, but I think I need some of that wine to get that.
Sure.
Do you want some chewing gum?
It's okay.
Okay.
Just a little. But we weren't allowed to talk for the meal. And you really start to taste things because you're concentrating on the food. And we eat all the time, and we do concentrate on food. Like someone's like, wow, taste that. You're like, wow. But when you do it for like an hour and a half, it's amazing.
Wow. Okay, guys, we need to push on because we're only at I. We're going to go quickly now, okay? We're going to do a few quick ones.
Okay.
J is for junk food. How often are you eating McDonald's?
I haven't eaten in McDonald's, actually. I ate
10
once.
seconds.
Once since I've been in France.
Hang on, you just had McDonald's.
Okay, twice. Now you ruined my track record.
Okay, so he's not a fan of McDonald's.
When your Wi-Fi goes out in Paris, that's when you go to McDonald's. Yeah.
Okay, we got to fire on. L is for legs of frogs. Worth it or animal cruelty?
I don't know about cruelty. I don't eat them because most of them are from places where they farm them and they're not really raised. They're usually in farms and pens or whatever, like the way they raise salmon and shrimp. So it's
not for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not.
M is for market in Paris. Which is your favorite market? First, and then I got a follow-up question.
Okay.
Food market.
Well, my favorite is the one. Well, I would say the Marché de Ligue. That's my favorite. It's a great market. It's every day but Monday, and it's big. It's changed over the last 10 years, but it's really diverse. There's lower end stuff. There's higher end stuff.
Can you walk us through it? Imagine you're walking through and tell us what you do.
I arrive there and I kind of look at everything first. And I walk down the main street. Then I go to the flea market in the middle and look. I go through the boxes where everything's like 50 cents. Because I've gotten cheap in my older age. I'm becoming French. Sometimes I go have a glass of wine at the Baron Rouge, or I get a little baguette apéritif from Moisson Bakery, which is a salty, savory kind of little baguette just to snack on. Then I go back and get all the stuff I want to get. I go to the Graniterie du Marché, which is a fellow, his name is Jose, and he's super nice. He's très gentil. And I get beans or whatever I need to get from him, or herbs. Then I'll go to different stands that I like that it gets, certain things like fresh. If someone might have like sour Seville or sour oranges, I'll say, oh, it's time to make jam. Or I'll go to somebody else and I'll go inside the covered market and get cheese. The people who are right at the entrance have amazing cheeses. I get really good Comté there.
And how often are you going to these markets?
Well, I go to the market twice a week. I usually, like most Parisians, I usually go to the market closest to where I live because they know me. And it's important to go back to the same place over and over again in France. A lot of tourists go, we're going to go to all these different restaurants and go to all these different cheese shops. I'm like, no, go to the same one every day because the second or the third day you're there, they'll remember you and you'll be much more part of you'll be treated sort of 2 or 3 years.
Can you find all the ingredients you want?
Pretty much. I just discovered Marks and Spencer. I was like, wow, cottage cheese.
N for Nutella. Is that the best crepe filling?
I actually like ham and cheese. I'm more of a savory crepe person, but I do have a sort of softness, a weakness for salted butter caramel.
Okay.
Rather than Nutella.
O is for own restaurant. What would you call your own restaurant?
My restaurant?
If you had one in Paris.
Chez Dave.
Chez Dave. I like it. And where would it be?
It would be in my imagination because I would never open my own restaurant.
Why not? Why not?
It's really hard work. I've opened restaurants for other people, and I can safely say it was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. So
Chez Dave in David Lebovitz's imagination if you want to visit.
It's open for business.
P is for pain au chocolat or chocolatine.
You know, it's funny. I never heard the word chocolatine until a few years ago. People said, "Oh, they use it like in certain parts of France."
Right.
But basically, I always know it as pain au chocolat.
You know what? I heard the same thing, that I think south of France they call it chocolatine. But when I bought these delicious croissants that you just tasted at Pain des Idées, they sell them as chocolatines.
Well, you know, sometimes they do that as an affectation, or maybe the chef is from a certain part. It's like they call it a souvenir of his enfance, his childhood.
Okay, that was an easy one. Q is for quiche Lorraine. Have you ever had one in Lorraine?
No, but I've been in Lorraine and I've had wonderful Mirabelle things, tarts with Mirabelles, the little tiny plums, and also bergamot candies.
Have you ever been called a quiche?
What does it mean?
What does that mean?
I've never been called a quiche. Hang on, is it a good thing or a bad thing?
It's a bad thing. It's like being if you're really, really bad at something, or you une quiche.
Une quiche.
Yeah, t'es vraiment une quiche à ça.
Well, it's funny because like in America, quiche, when you say, "Oh, you eat quiche," it's sort of like you're like an effete snob. And it's like, well, in France, like, you know, like the guys who work on like the electrical outlet, you know, lines in the street, they're eating quiche for lunch. The cafe, because it's just, you know, it's like pate. And American one's like, oh, that's for like snobby people. I'm like, no, it's kind of like working class food.
Okay, R is for restaurant. Can you give me a tip for a romantic restaurant to take a date on in Paris?
Well, do you
not
want
too
them,
expensive,
do you want
please,
them to,
David.
well, then they're not going to put out. I'm really bad at on-the-spot restaurant stuff.
It's all right. It's all right. We're only against the clock.
Yeah,
That's all.
I just had a lot of visitors, and it was like, "Where do you want to go? I don't know. Where do you want to go? I don't know. Where do you want to go?"
Okay, put it this way: you've got forget romantic. You got one restaurant to recommend to someone who's one night in Paris, and they're here right now, and they're on the phone, and they're running out of internet. Where should I go, David? Quick!
That's a really good way to frame it. I would say à la biche au bois.
And tell me about that.
Classic French food, very reasonably priced, like 25 euros a person for the 3-course menu. Foie gras. It's sort of near the Gare de Lyon, so it's a little bustling, and it's really French. It's a real French experience, but they're friendly enough to tourists as well.
Oh, my phone cut out. Thanks for the tip.
Okay. It's like, shut up.
Well, I'm realizing how long it takes to get through 26 letters of the alphabet. S, though, is for supermarket. Is it worth shopping in a French supermarket?
Absolutely. Whenever I travel, I go to the supermarket because that's how you see how people eat. And, you know, there's a lot of not so great supermarkets in France, and there's some good ones. I'm writing a story on my blog about new food places I found. You go to Marks and Spencer, and it's actually fascinating because you see all this British stuff, but they have all these things like Indian wines and a lot of Indian food, and that's what people in England eat. So
people criticize French supermarkets for not having a very big international section.
That's true. Yeah.
Products of the world, they call it.
Yeah.
Well, what's kind of sad is like the American section is always like the worst of America. They have like strawberry fluff and like powdered cheesecake.
I was going to get that marshmallow stuff for one of your croissants. You know?
Well, the regular I like, but the strawberry, I've never even seen strawberry fluff in America. So that's why a lot of them think we eat bad because they see those things. And
you mentioned your blog just a sec ago. For anyone that's listening, that's davidlebovitz.com. You can find him on Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter. You can find him everywhere. You're on all of them.
No, I'm not on LinkedIn, and I can't stand
Who
those
needs
things that
LinkedIn?
come into my mail. Someone's invited you to LinkedIn.
You're not missing absolutely anything.
I'm into Snapchat because it
Snapchat.
disappears,
Right.
so I can do whatever I want.
It doesn't work like that on this episode, though, David.
What?
This isn't going anywhere.
Okay, that's okay. I'm the oldest person on Snapchat.
Oh, really? I never really got Snap. But we're getting distracted. We're on to T for tin. How on earth... T for thin. How on earth...
T for thin?
That works. T for thin. How are all these Parisians so thin when they eat so much food and so much fatty food?
Well, I don't think they eat that much fatty food in Paris. I think they smoke a lot, and people walk a lot. You know, in New York City, you don't see people who are big, and people are really buff in New York. They're all working out, they're running, they're jumping, going up and down metro stairs.
Right.
And same with Paris. But if you go to you leave Paris, you go to the smaller towns, you see people who are well-fed.
Well-fed.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it. We've got to move on now to U, which is obviously for undercooked meal.
Undercooked.
Of course it is. I've really been stretched thin at the end of this alphabet, but U is for undercooked meal. What do you do when you're at a soiree and someone cooks something that's undercooked or it's off? Do you say, oh, host, you're being a bit of a quiche here. Or do you
gently slide it into the bin behind you?
What do you, and what have you done?
Because
it must have happened.
See, these are all questions that require like 5-minute answers.
Okay, then how about the etiquette then? Someone's cooked, I'm sitting down, someone's cooked some chicken. Oh, that's raw. What should I say to my French host?
Well, I wouldn't say anything. You just sort of push it around the plate, and it would be probably rude to point it out. It would also be rude for them to say, "Why didn't you eat your chicken?" Because so I think generally you just cut it into pieces and
hide it under the fork.
Yeah, you hide it under the knife and fork, and you lay the knife and fork on top of it.
V is for vin rouge, red wine. What I want to know is, in a restaurant when you taste it, they offer you a bit to taste. Can you talk me through how you meant to do it without looking like a quiche?
Well, you shouldn't. You should never, ever be worried about what someone tells you should or shouldn't drink or should or shouldn't like, because it's personal. And people apologize to me all the time. They're like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I like Cadbury chocolate." But I'm like, "Great, it's I eat M&Ms. I live on M&Ms." Wine is personal. You don't have to. It's not this upscale drink. It's you want to. Someone's like, "I got this bottle of wine. It was $5. Is that okay?" I'm like, "Sure, it's great."
But what about in a restaurant when you're tasting it? Is that to taste if it's being corked, or is that to see if
just to see if it's good. Usually they do that to make sure it's not corked.
Yeah.
They don't really care if you like it. From a business point of view, it's not. If you don't like it, they're not going to take it away usually. But sometimes they do. I've gone to restaurants I didn't like the wine, and we say, this isn't really what I like, and they might say, "Okay, we'll get you another one."
So you can do that in Paris. You can get away with doing that. They won't.
Yeah, my partner's French, and he's really French. Yeah. So
the waiter isn't going to get any grumpier.
We ate at a restaurant the other night, and I didn't like the wine that they suggested, and it was really not to my liking, and I just didn't like it at all. And it's kind of the sommelier's job to find you a wine that you like as well. If they say, "Do you like a minerally wine? Or do you like a soft wine? Do you like a sweet wine?" They gave me like a sweet white wine, and they insisted it wasn't sweet. And I said, "Look," I don't know a lot of things about a lot of things. Like, there's a lot I don't know, but I'm a pastry chef. Sweet, I know. I'm an expert on sweet, and that's sweet. And they still were fighting me on it. So, I just, whatever.
So you say, but that's when the chefs, the waiters recommend it to you. What about when you say, "I'd like this wine"? Can you then say, "Actually, nah, don't really want that one"?
No, you should never do that, because you picked it. If you say someone, "Do you like?"
But they're still letting you taste it.
Yeah, but you're tasting it to make sure it's not bad.
Okay.
I think when you order a wine, it's your responsibility. If you ask someone their opinion, and they give it to you and you don't like it, that's a different thing.
We just had a big conversation about wine, but W is actually for white wine. What's the cheapest you can buy and still get away with a good bottle from a supermarket?
Well, I think you can get a bottle of Sauvignon Blanc for €4 or €5, and you can do pretty well with it.
Okay. X is for eggs.
X is for eggs, not Aix-en-Provence.
It's about how you pronounce it. X is for X.
Could have been Garrison d'Aix.
No, it's eggs. What's the best egg-based meal in France?
Well, I actually like an omelette. It's great.
I guess there's a lot of egg in that.
Yeah, that's an egg omelette. Yeah, I love omelets, but I also like chouquettes.
Easy answer there. And why? We're almost at the end here of this A to Z of French food. You're doing really well, David.
Okay.
And we're at Y, which is for yogurt, or as you might say, yogurt.
Yaourt.
That's
a tough word for us.
Why is there so much in French supermarkets?
I don't know. I think
there are walls of it in the French supermarket. The little tiny, I'm talking like 1 scoop of strawberry yogurt.
Those are for children, and it's also good for you. People are like, "I don't want to eat carrot cake. That's so weird." I'm like, carrots are really good for you. They're like, "Oh, okay." They start eating it. So you say it's très bon pour la santé, and French people will eat anything if you tell them it's good for you.
Okay, great answer. And Z, or Z, is for zut alors. We've made it all the way to the end of the alphabet.
Merde. No.
Congratulations, David Lebovitz. You have absolutely nailed the challenge.
Okay, next time you have to ask someone to do it backwards, because I was telling French friends the other night, that's when you get stopped by the police. If they think you've been drinking, they ask you to say the alphabet backwards.
I've got a party trick. I could do that in under 5 seconds.
Really?
Yeah.
You got 5 seconds?
You ready?
Go.
ZYXWVUTSRQPONMLKJIHGFEDCBA.
I don't know if you got it right, but it's.
I don't know whether that was 5 seconds, but it was.
Wow, so you got practice.
I've been pulled over by police a lot of times to prove myself. But with that, zut alors, we're done. Thanks for having us. Thanks for being on the show. That's the wine talking. Thanks for being on the show, David, and it's been a real pleasure having you here.
Thanks for inviting me.
Eiffel Tower with Oliver G.